a balmy 32 degrees here in Wisconsin. You know what that means. It's time to start thinking about the Fwoosh summer swap. Let's go ahead and get this thing started. I wanted to catalog my whole process so that you can follow along with my frustrations, my failures, and my fixes. And because I've never seen a YouTube video that follows the summer swap, I figured at least I could make history in that regard. I did participate in my first Secret Santa this year, but because I started a home renovation project right in the middle of it, filming was not my priority. And so, let's go ahead and take a look at my list and see what we have to choose from.
And obviously, I feel I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the great Craig Warwick. My inspiration for making a video series like this was obviously the Secret Santas that he's put together for the community. He's a huge inspiration both in the work that he puts out and the kind of willingness he has to share his mastery of the craft with everybody. One of his biggest questions that he gets is, does he take commissions? And he always invariably says no, he does this so that he can inspire other people to make the customs that they would want to have, rather than having to shell out and pay somebody else the big bucks to make something that they wanted. So Craig, thank you so much, not only for me, but for all customizers out there. And hopefully I can fill some of the void that you left by sitting out of Secret Santa this year. On that same token, Customs by Matthew is a person that I reached out to when I first started customizing. He and I have kind of grown closer and closer as the years have gone by. The projects that he's put together range from the absolutely insane, as you can see with this rabbit here, to kind of the most beautiful things that I've ever seen, right? His Beast, his all-new X-Men, I'm so excited for. You can see that he can do realistic. You can see that he does, figures from all over. And so certainly check him out if you haven't yet. He's over there on Instagram at Customs by Matthew. Check him out, and hopefully, these guys and maybe myself can inspire you to give this a try for yourself. All right, let's take a look at that list and let's see what we come up with this year.
This is the first time I'm seeing it, and so any reactions are legitimate. And so it begins. Hello, friend. Here is your list in all its glory. I am very passionate about everyone finishing on time, so please work diligently to do so. I can't wait to see what you cook up. I won't be doing helper groups, as I am available to bounce all ideas off since I am not participating. May the force be with you. May the odds be ever in your favor. Solemnly swear that you are up to no good. Ladies and gentlemen, the hottest band in the world, Kiss. Oh wait, I effed up. So that's a message from Squall Draven, who took over this year, kind of organizing the swap. During the Secret Santa, he made a really sweet Valkyrie Jane Foster, so head on over to his YouTube channel and take a peek at that. I'll put a link in the description down below. All right, and here's the list. It looks like it's, I was going to say mostly, but I'm not so sure about that. It looks like it's some comic characters that I recognize. There are no pictures here, but there are links, and so hopefully they'll show up for you over here. But I'm just going to run through it, give you my thoughts, and ultimately kind of see where we are. The first one, Betsy Braddock as Captain Britain. And so I'm much more interested in and familiar with Betsy Braddock as Psylocke. I've done a couple different customs of her. I would love to do the Lady Mandarin version of her, but apparently this is when she becomes Captain Britain. And so I'm not really too familiar with that look. But ultimately, that's one that I'm interested in. Marvel is really kind of in my wheelhouse there. I don't really do a lot of female figures, but that's something that I really would like to try out. So that's definitely an option. There's Nanny. I'm not really sure what that is at all, and so maybe after a little bit more research, I can pop back in and see how that goes. We've got the Orphan Maker again. I feel like I'm pretty well versed in comics, but Orphan Maker is not one that I necessarily know. And so I'm going to pop in to one of these links and see what I can find. It looks kind of almost like a Death's Head style robot or mech, and so it's already given me ideas of pieces that I can use. I'm not too familiar with the character, and so probably wouldn't be interested, but certainly ideas are already kind of, the wheels are turning in my head. The next one is the Goblin Queen. Definitely that's one that I think I'd be interested in. Again, a female figure. That's one that I think that I could do pretty easily. Pretty basic costuming. Obviously would have to focus on making it look great with the skin tone and the red hair. So definitely that's another one that's on my list. We've got Megan, so we've got somebody who's really interested in kind of the Excalibur team. I've seen, I think Face Customs did a Megan custom that I'm definitely not even going to come close to, and so certainly check that out if you're interested. Oof, this is one that I've been thinking of doing for myself, and so we've already got a front runner on the list. Dracula, the modern Marvel, with that beautiful red kind of scaled armor. Yeah, I mean, already that's one that I'm really interested in. Yeah, so I think we'll probably come back to that. We've got Lilith as one of the options as well. I'm pretty sure she is a Doctor Strange villain. Another girl, she's got that really weird kind of forked forehead. So very obviously we've got a heavy female list here. Screwball, that's another one that I've been kind of thinking about doing, especially from playing the Spider-Man game. I got a lot of ideas. I think a really easy base body to use would be Spider-Gwen, or not Spider-Gwen, but Gwenpool, and she is plentiful at basically any store that you go to. So yeah, that'd be another good idea. We've got Ricochet, not the wrestler I'm assuming, but one of the Spider Slingers, or one of the Slingers. It's an alternate identity that I think Peter Parker took on when he was kind of on the run, and so I think that'd be a really cool one. He wears this nice jacket. I know that a lot of people use Superboy for the kind of thin-bodied leather jacket as well, so definitely I've got some ideas for that. We've got Awesome Andy, or the android. He's basically a big old block, one of the kind of a build-a-figure body with basically just a square block for his head. I think that would be really easy, and so if I were going to do that, I'd have to make sure that the paint apps were, kind of on point, good shading and all those things. It'd be interesting. It'd be a big figure, and so I think that would be cool, but it doesn't really allow me to take any risks or develop any new skills there. And so that one I'll kind of save, but it'll be at the bottom of the list. Gorilla Man. I think he's from, I think I read him from the Agents of Atlas. I think he was with Jimmy Woo. I think Namorita was in that group as well. And so he's a big gorilla that wears army fatigues. Yeah, and so I think that would be a pretty cool one. The Uranian. I'm not sure I know what that is. I think it's in a list here. Yeah, the Uranian, he's another Agent of Atlas, and so he is kind of reminds me of Marvel Boy a little bit, and he wears a big kind of Mysterio-like dome or fishbowl type dome over his head as well. So Agents of Atlas, obviously a favorite team that this guy finds. Namora is one of the characters that's there. She'd be really cool. Namor is one of my favorite Marvel superheroes. So I think that would be kind of cool to work on her and take some shots with the two of them together. We've got Yellow Jacket, but lists Rita Damara. I don't know who that character is. Obviously, I'm familiar with Hank Pym as Yellow Jacket, and as you know, when he dons a new costume, he kind of bequeaths that onto a follower. And so, looking at the costume here, it's kind of what I expected, a female version of Yellow Jacket. Again, kind of a lot of females on this list here. We've got Warbird. Warbird. Pretty cool. I think I saw Warbird from the Uncanny X-Men. I think one of the big stories that I remember her with is she and kind of Kid Gladiator got into it, and Quentin Quire. Yeah, she's got a really cool costume, a really elaborate kind of headdress, and so that would be really complicated. I don't know if I'd want to do that in cloth or in Sculpey. It'd be really heavy with Sculpey, but maybe a Medusa figure would be a good base for that hair. We've got Mantis on here, and just like I thought, it's Mantis kind of in her classic costume. A lot of really thin pieces, whether it's her antenna or kind of the I guess spikes of her costume coming off, and she wears almost like a grass skirt as well. Definitely not the comic style the MCU style of Mantis, which would be quite simple to just mod the figure together. Oh, but he does give a couple different looks. Kind of that classic blue Guardians, and that's when she has green skin, almost from like the Annihilation Wave or Annihilation Conquest storyline. That would be one I'd be much more interested in than that old school kind of hula costume. We've got Immortus. I don't really have a whole lot to say about Immortus. I thought maybe he had something to do with Kang, but as I'm looking into him, he's got that old classic, green and purple color scheme, so you knew somebody was a bad guy. He's got this elaborate headdress and a good old goatee. I've just been practicing, sculpting hair and facial hair, and so that goatee would, put my skills to the test. Titania, another woman, a big character here. Finally, somebody to go with Absorbing Man. I gotta believe that Hasbro's gonna put something out like that. They're very, very good about, getting those kind of random one-off Masters of Evil characters. And the fact that we got an Absorbing Man without Titania so far, I think she's got to be coming down the pike. It's Toy Fair this weekend, and so I probably won't make a final decision until after Toy Fair, just so I don't start a project that they're just going to release anyway. But again, another female character. We've got Moondragon. Moondragon's another awesome Guardians character that I was introduced to through, Annihilation and those types of space kind of faring storylines as well. She had a lot of different looks, and so I'm just going to kind of take a peek and see the options that he has given here. It looks like it's going for that classic with almost the green kind of bikini style with the big old collar on the cape as well. I know that she has a more kind of armored version that I seem to be more into. It's got this kind of neck cowl that comes up, and I really like the way that looks. Oof. We've got Speedball, Robbie Baldwin, New Warriors. I have Penance, his kind of alter ego. After the events of Civil War, he has, kind of PTSD and definitely uses pain to kind of further his powers, which is where the name Penance comes from. And so it'd be kind of cool if maybe I made this version and then got Penance in the swap as well. And so that's another one that I think is interesting. He's got the Mandarin as one of the options. And the armored Mandarin, which I'm surprised about. He leaves a little note down here. Doesn't need green skin for the animated costume, and so there must be a specific. There's a toy action figure that he's referencing there. It's got green skin. I don't know if it's him being powered up or infected by something, but doesn't need the green skin. So the Mandarin, that'd be a fun one to pose up with a bunch of different Iron Mans and all that good stuff. Oh, he's got Lady Bullseye on here. I don't really need to look at this because I've actually got a Lady Bullseye figure that I've been working on here. So if I wanted to kind of take the easy route out or the easy way out, I could just kind of finish up this figure. This is one that I've worked on a few years ago, and she's kind of taking a back seat, but I'm doing her for me, and so I don't think that I'm going to be choosing her to go through. This is a long list, a lot of things to choose from here. Probably really exciting for all of you watching. The Orb, that's another one that I actually really was thinking about making. It's a great Ghost Rider villain. He's really campy. There's a lot of parts that I think you could use. Seems like a simple part swap, and so if I were to do the Orb, I think the paint job obviously is something that you got to take into account, but also accessories give a couple different options. There are times where his eye is clear. There are times where his eye has a lot more bloodshot detailing to it, so maybe a couple swappable heads I think could work. Or maybe some masks, just kind of like his henchmen wear. Give a half mask so you could put them on some army builders. And then the final one is Princess Python. It's just exactly what it sounds like. Princess Python is probably a member of the Serpent Society. There are so many of them that I'm not really sure. It looks like from the reference shots she's tied up in space, and so I'm not really sure if she's cosmic or anything like that. But yeah, so it's a female heavy list. I was talking with Customs by Matthew, one of my buddies, and talking about how I never really take the risk to make a female figure. But as you can see from Lady Bullseye, I've been kind of diving into that well a little bit. And so let's run back through. We'll narrow it down a little bit, and then the next time I see you, I'll have made a decision here. But I think front runners right now, the orb, I think would be really cool. Like I said, it wouldn't allow me to really challenge myself with a female like I want to, but the character's design is so interesting and so cool that, you know, that might just be one of the options for me. Lady Bullseye, I think I'll put way on the back burner if nothing really comes to me, or if I'm struggling a little bit, or if I decide to, you know, tear down a wall in my house. You know, I've got a pretty good start on one of those. Speedball, kind of interested in, mostly because, you know, Penance is on my own list, but obviously I have an affinity for a character in you know, his later years, and so yeah, Speedball I think we can throw on there. Moondragon's not the costume I really like, and so I think I'll kind of steer clear of her. Mantis I think would be really cool, especially in her kind of blue classic, so that if you have the Entertainment Earth set, or I think there's a select Groot that's got that blue costume on, she'd go really nicely with them. So Mantis, I think I'm going to put on that short list. Going all the way back up to the top, I think Dracula, the modern Dracula, definitely is something that I'd be interested in. There are rumors of a Morbius wave coming up pretty soon, and obviously I think that'll lean very heavily on kind of the horror Marvel aspect, and so maybe we'll get a classic Blade. Obviously we'll get the movie Morbius, I think. But I think Dracula, Werewolf by Night are pretty good bets for that wave, and so obviously I think we can wait and see. We've got the Goblin Queen, and then Betsy Braddock, Captain Britain. I don't think I ever looked at the photos that he put up for her, but yeah, it looks like this is actually a little bit more modern. I think in maybe Powers of X or House of X, I think in the new Excalibur, she's actually going to be playing the role, I guess, of Captain Britain, and her suit looks pretty cool. There's a lot of fabric, it seems like. Yeah, so that definitely might be an option for me. I'm going to put her on the list as well. And then one more thing before you know, I kind of finish it off. I've got Nanny. This one character, Nanny, I wasn't sure of. And now that I'm looking into it, it's a robotic egg that's really strange, and it goes along with the Orphan Maker. And so I'll have to look into those a little bit deeper, but I don't think they're making the short list. And so let's just run through really quickly again. I think Betsy Braddock is, you know, pretty near the top of the list as well. I think Dracula definitely is, barring any news from, or any announcements from Toy Fair. I think Namora, we can throw her on there. Mantis, definitely. Lady Bullseye, like I said, and the Orb. I'm going to do some research. I'm going to read some comics, look at some more reference images, and next time I see you, I'll be deep in the planning stages, maybe have some fodder bodies picked out, but certainly I will have made a choice. All right, we'll see you guys again soon. Come on back next time.